Hey everyone, I'm Salaro, and thank you for clicking this video. I don't want to keep you waiting, so let's get right into the topic. As someone who's only just recently bought a Quest 2 headset in 2022 and only loosely been following VR news for a few years, I'm not exactly the leading expert at VR and its trends, but I do think that lends me a unique position from which to talk about it, as an outsider who's trying to get in just now. This video will be broken up into 3 parts, and I just want to preface that this video is going to be entirely opinion and you can take it with a grain of salt. It's hard to say that VR is actually dying despite what most news websites would have you believe. Hell, if you search up "is VR," the top most recommended search options are going to be "is VR dying" or "is VR worth it?" And this only goes to show that people are genuinely concerned about the longevity of the medium. Now, as far as my opinion goes, I flat out disagree that VR is dying. With MetaQuest 2 being shipped to a shocking amount of countries worldwide, and according to third-party trackers, the most recent holiday season saw a massive jump in downloads of the Oculus app, with Meta selling a staggering 2 million units. It's pretty easy to say that more people are involved with VR now than ever, although that's not to say that everything is sunshine and rainbows. Even with this large influx of new VR users getting into the scene, it's not hard to see the unease of the market. And the worst part is you can't even point blame at any particular company or group. The VR market is a very unstable portion of its life, and it's still a very young medium. It hasn't had years to develop itself into a steady and consistent format. As someone who's looking into a headset, it's pretty easy to say that the first headset I wanted to get was the Quest 2. It was affordable, the reviews relatively positive, and it was something I would just go out there to the nearest Best Buy and purchase. In fact, that was something that I did do. But even when I felt like I was heavily pushed into a choice, it still felt like there was too many questions that I needed answered. I think there's no better way to put it than my friend did when they were also looking into getting a headset. They also decided on the Quest 2, but as they stated, they were overwhelmed with how much they actually needed to buy to get into it. Like me, they have glasses, and while the Quest comes with a glasses spacer in the box, that's not exactly a comfortable solution. So they were looking into custom lenses that made it easier and more comfortable to play, but this meant that they need to look into third party, as Meta doesn't provide anything like that, although they do provide a link to a place that provides that. This meant that they were probably going to have to spend quite a bit of money just for this one piece. Then, they said that they wanted to do a bit more of a long-term play session, so the standard strap wasn't going to be good enough, as it quickly gets uncomfortable to wear a toaster on your face only being held up by a Velcro strap in your forehead. Now, there are a few solutions to this problem, but if you didn't put hours into researching them, then the easiest solution would be that you'd find the one that Meta provides themselves. Oculus provides something that they call the Elite Strap, which is marketed towards people who intend to play longer, but this quickly becomes a problem as just the base strap sells for 80 Canadian dollars. They also offer a second option, which is meant to increase the problematically small battery life of the standalone headset for 160 Canadian dollars. Already, you can see the issue here. For something that boasts being affordable and a great entry-level headset for new users, it's crazy that the moment you try to get serious about it, you can see yourself spending $1,000 or more. That's money you could easily spend on a more powerful headset. The Valve Index only ships for 1,500 Canadian dollars. Now, this isn't a Quest 2 review, you can watch 100 other videos on that topic. My point here is to showcase how daunting getting to VR can be, which leads us to the next problem when you do finally get into VR. It's really easy to say that while VR isn't dead, it's certainly stagnating. This is sort of a difficult topic to explain well in today's market. We all know that VR only started exploding recently and had to do so in a global pandemic, which we all know hasn't been too great for innovation, or really anything new since virtually everything got delayed. I understand that it's really hard to develop when you can't go outside or go to the office to work, so I'm willing to give some credit where credit is due. We've all seen a large amount of new game releases for VR during the pandemic. The problem is, these all come from indie developers or teams of no larger than maybe 10 to 20 people. The VR space is still new and not everyone knows exactly what to do with it yet, so I'm glad that we have some studios playing around with some interesting concepts, but I hate to say that doesn't really matter. When you look at the most popular game for VR, you can see that they haven't really changed much over 2 years. Half-Life Alyx came out 2 years ago, and sadly that's still the top VR game in terms of sales, active players, and quality. Next to that, is Pavlov and Blade and Sorcery, games that came out in 2017 and 2018 respectively. And I have no problem with this in theory. They're great games, and I've already sunk a ton of hours into them. But it's pretty unfortunate to say that the only thing keeping these two games alive are community content. Just trying to record some gameplay for this part of the video, I had a really hard time finding a full lobby of people that wasn't a locked lobby or some form of heavily modded map. And while inherently this isn't a massive problem, it's hard to look fondly towards new games that come out when you can clearly see that all new games are just the same thing that we've seen before with different graphics. Any shooter game that relies on realistic guns just feels like Pavlov, and any sword combat arena game feels like Blade and Sorcery. It's unfortunate that you can practically put every VR game into 3 separate categories: COD-like shooter, arena, and horror. And even then, there's not much innovation among them. Half-Life Alyx showed us that we can do interesting things with VR. It can be unique and special, and unfortunately we haven't seen anything like that since it came out. Don't even get me started on AAA studios trying to enter the market. So far, any AAA studio that we've seen try to enter VR has only done some crappy port of a game that they've already made. We already know that big companies aren't very good at innovation, which I get. They know what works, so they just pump out sequels upon sequels of titles that sell, but it's a completely new format, and they just slap some motion controls in and hope that that would work? Alyx showed us what a large studio with a good budget could pull off, and we haven't seen that replicated since. So where do we go from here? This part of the video isn't going to be speculation or anything. I hope that you leave this part of the video with an understanding that everything I said is just how I feel as an outsider trying to get into VR now. VR is still in its awkward toddler years. We're going to experience some growing pains in the next few years, and that's okay. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but according to some leaks, we actually have a pretty promising year coming up with GTA San Andreas supposedly getting a VR port. If it's done right, then I think we can expect to see some mainstream VR usage. GTA has the ability to make or break the VR market with its story-focused gameplay, as everything we've really seen so far relies on multiplayer to make the games more fun. VR has the ability to tell stories in a way that flat-screen games can't. It can fully immerse you in a world and have you interacting in it in a very real way. And that's why it should lend itself to new ways of storytelling. I've always been a big fan of Dungeons & Dragons, and the seemingly endless ways you can tell a story. Personally, I feel like this can be one of VR's biggest strengths. You can build worlds that a player can actually walk through. You don't need to rely on the same types of games that we've seen before. Now is the time to innovate and try to provide a new experience that you can't see anywhere else. We need to see more AAA studios try to tackle VR with something new. No more ports or repeated IPs. I know that that's what sells, but we're in uncharted territory here, and VR users aren't exactly picky. We're starved for new content. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you made it to this part of the video, go ahead and leave me a comment about the VR games which you think I should try, or even if you think I got something wrong in this video. I'm completely open to all forms of feedback. And if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you didn't like it, then you're free to dislike the video and tell me ways I can improve. And while you're here, you should subscribe if you haven't yet. Now, if you hear someone who used to watch me before, let me know what you think about this new video format. It's not going to be every video that's like this. I'm going to be trying for all different types of content. I'll try to upload a new video every Sunday, and if you want to see me more frequently, I stream on Twitch, so you can follow me there too. Thank you all again, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I've been Salario, and you've been wonderful.